Before glossy relationship dramas dominated television, before streaming platforms turned marriage, wealth, and identity into prestige storytelling, there was a small corner of early 1980s cinema where filmmakers were already trying to explore those themes, quietly, experimentally, and far from the Hollywood spotlight. In 1981, one of those films appeared with a title that promised rebellion and glamour at the same time: Outlaw Ladies. Today it survives as a niche cult film from the final years of the so-called Golden Age era, a moment when some independent productions tried to blend adult themes with real storytelling, polished cinematography, and character-driven drama. To understand the film, you have to step into that era. The late 1970s and early 1980s were a time of transition. Social attitudes were shifting. Conversations about marriage, independence, and identity were changing. The aftershocks of the 1970s liberation era were still being felt, especially among filmmakers working outside the studio system. Some directors began experimenting with stories that reflected those social changes, stories about relationships, dissatisfaction, and the search for personal freedom. Outlaw Ladies was born from that moment. The film was directed by Henri Pachard, working under the name Ron Sullivan. Pachard became known for projects that attempted to emphasize narrative, character, and polished visuals during a time when many low-budget productions focused primarily on spectacle. His goal here was different. He wanted drama. He wanted relationships. He wanted a film that looked closer to a glossy soap opera or melodrama than to gritty underground cinema. At the center of the story is Barbara, a wealthy socialite whose life appears perfect from the outside. She lives in comfort, surrounded by luxury and stability. Her husband, Victor, is a successful lawyer, respected and career-focused. On paper, their life is enviable. But emotionally, it feels quiet, predictable, routine. The marriage has lost its spark, and Barbara begins to sense a growing emptiness behind the polished surface of her social world. This emotional restlessness becomes the engine of the film. Outlaw Ladies is not a story driven by action or external conflict. It is driven by conversations, friendships, and personal awakenings. Barbara's transformation begins when she reconnects with her friend Evelyn, a woman portrayed as confident, independent, and far less interested in social expectations. Evelyn represents the voice of change, someone who has already stepped outside the boundaries that Barbara still feels trapped within. Through their conversations, Barbara begins to question the life she has accepted. What follows is a ripple effect. As Barbara's perspective shifts, she shares these ideas with other women in her social circle. One by one, the film introduces characters who are living comfortable but emotionally limited lives shaped by careers, marriages, and expectations. The movie gradually becomes an ensemble story, a portrait of a wealthy social group quietly questioning the roles they have settled into. Running alongside Barbara's journey is the story of Felicia, a younger woman living under the strict control of her mother. Her life has been shaped by rules, expectations, and constant supervision. Felicia's arc becomes one of the film's most symbolic threads. Where Barbara represents dissatisfaction inside a comfortable life, Felicia represents inexperience and restriction. As she becomes involved with Barbara and her friends, she begins to discover independence and self-confidence. Her journey mirrors the film's central message. Personal growth comes from making your own choices. This dual narrative gives the movie a structure closer to a relationship drama than to a traditional genre film. And this is where Outlaw Ladies stands out historically. Despite its marketing at the time, the film is often discussed as part of a wave of early 1980s productions that experimented with storytelling and social commentary. These films attempted to blend adult themes with melodrama, romance, and character development. The result was a unique hybrid, part drama, part cultural time capsule. One of the film's most notable aspects is its focus on female agency. The narrative places women at the center of decision-making and personal change. Their friendships, conversations, and shared experiences drive the story forward. Male characters exist within the story, but they are not the emotional focus. Many viewers later described the men as secondary figures, present, but not central to the film's themes. This reversal of traditional storytelling dynamics helped the movie stand out within its era. The cast features several performers who became prominent figures of early 1980s independent cinema, including Jody Maxwell as Barbara, Samantha Fox as Evelyn, Veronica Hart as Deidre, Juliet Anderson as Abby, Candida Royale as Zelda, and Marlene Willoughby as Cassie Lacey. Robert Kerman appears as Victor, representing the stable professional world that contrasts with the emotional changes unfolding among the women. Behind the camera, cinematographer Larry Revene played a major role in shaping the film's visual identity. Reviews frequently highlighted his use of soft lighting and careful framing to create a glamorous atmosphere. The film's look is polished and elegant, filled with upscale interiors, soft lighting, and warm color palettes that reflect the world of wealth and social status the characters inhabit. This visual style reflects a broader ambition. During the final years of the Golden Age era, some filmmakers tried to move closer to mainstream aesthetics. They borrowed visual language from television dramas and romantic films, soft lighting, dramatic close-ups, and slower pacing to create productions that felt more narrative-driven. Outlaw Ladies fits squarely within that experiment. The pacing is deliberate and conversational. Scenes often revolve around dialogue, reflection, and emotional shifts, rather than dramatic action. Characters influence each other through conversations, shared experiences, and changing perspectives. This approach gave the film a reputation among some viewers as unusually focused on character development. Over time, the film became associated with the broader cultural moment that followed the liberation movements of the 1970s. Conversations about independence, identity, and personal choice were becoming more visible in media, and some filmmakers on the fringes began exploring those themes in their own way. Outlaw Ladies reflects that influence. Its story can be read as a satire of upper-class marriage and social expectations. The characters live in comfort and success, yet struggle with emotional fulfillment and identity. Their journeys suggest that status and stability do not always equal happiness. For modern viewers, the film feels like a time capsule of early 1980s aesthetics and attitudes. Fashion, interior design, dialogue rhythms, and social dynamics all reflect the era's fascination with wealth, relationships, and personal reinvention. The film later received recognition within its niche community and was inducted into the XRCO Hall of Fame, cementing its status as a notable artifact of its era. Today, Outlaw Ladies is remembered less as a mainstream film and more as a cultural snapshot, a small but fascinating piece of a larger cinematic puzzle. It represents a moment just before the home video boom transformed the industry, when filmmakers were still experimenting with narrative ambition in unexpected corners of cinema. Some films become famous worldwide. Others quietly find their audience over time. Outlaw Ladies belongs to the second category, a film about boredom behind luxury, about friendships that spark change, about people searching for identity beyond the roles they've been given. A reminder that film history isn't shaped only by blockbusters and award winners, but also by the quiet experiments that lived on the edges of the screen, waiting to be rediscovered by the next curious viewer.